Hey guys, it's D Wiley with the Hard Headed Way podcast. Long time no see. Listen, y'all, as the kids be saying, life been lifing, and your girl fell into a rut. It started out as a headache around March 1st. I feel like Sophia off of the Golden Girls. Picture it, March 1st, 2023. I had a headache. And after a few days of dealing with the headache, I thought, okay, I'm good. I'm ready to bounce back, put the S on my chest, and let's get with it. And y'all made a post. I think that was the last post I made where it was like, hey, giving myself grace for what I didn't do last week. And then that headache was like, come here. I got something else for you. And the headache got worse. I got a cough, runny nose. After a week of it, I was like, I got COVID. I got to have COVID. So I took a test and it came back negative. I waited a few days later, went to the doctor. He was like, it's just something that's viral that's going around. It's running its course. You should be on the back end of it. So came home, another 4 or 5 days, y'all. I'm calling the doctor's office like, no, I need you to call me in something. So he called me in something. And I think about 2 weeks ago, I just started feeling good. Like a whole month went by, y'all. And I mean, D lost it. And so when the controlling person loses control, they unravel. And so I started a spiral because the day that I started feeling better and I looked around and realized the things that I had not done with the podcast, the stuff that I hadn't done at home, there's some things I needed to catch up on at work. It was all just overwhelming. And y'all, I don't care how healthy you've been, all the things. Sometimes, again, life just be lifing. And so I wanted to get on here, share a life update, and then kind of talk about what I'm doing to come out of the rut. I thought I would share that. And then just the evolution of me, the podcast, all the things. Because guess what? The podcast turns a year old at the end of this month. And I'm so excited. I have a couple of surprises, one specifically with some people from home. Well, everybody is from home, I think, for the next couple of recordings that I have. But I'm going to start to change some things with the podcast. So are y'all ready to jump in with me? All right, let's do it. All right. So in a rut, you come out of it and you're like, how do I get my head above water again? And the first thing I will say is acknowledge the season you're in. When I started the podcast, I was very much so in a different season for work. I was building a team. A lot of the work that we were doing was very conceptual. And so I had brain power left when I got home from work in the evenings. And then I just had time to get a feel for what the podcast was going to look like, feel like, because I also was leveraging other people to help me with the editing and the marketing. So I didn't have everything on my plate. So season 1 of the podcast ends. My team is again evolving. It's being built. The work is starting to change. And then season 2 of the podcast starts. So, and now I'm doing my editing and my marketing, y'all. When I tell y'all, I am not a social media fan. Like, trying to keep up with algorithms for, you got to post twice a week to do the things and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, this ain't fun anymore. Like, this legit felt like a second job. And I never want any of my extracurricular things, my love projects, to feel heavy. And so while I felt it, I didn't acknowledge it. And so I continued to try to grind along, do some recordings, because I was committed to the date, not honoring the season that my life was in. And so, and let me just say this too. I don't care if you taking vitamins, you are at your healthiest. Tired is tired. And so here I am coming full circle in March, definitely in a new season at work, but I'm definitely not owning it. And so because of that, everything is being forced. and you just don't want to do that. You got to pause. And even if you're not ready to pause, you got to lean into the curve, because this is a curve and you're going to have to make some adjustments. So step one, acknowledge the season that you're in. Step two, y'all ready? Do a brain dump. You'll be amazed at how much of a difference this makes. You can't improve what you can't see. So you do a brain dump of all the things that occur in your day. Document or journal, if you will, 1 or 2 days. I work in the office a few days and I'm home a few days. And so I wanted to journal both of those days and see what they look like. What time did I eat lunch? What disruptions did I have? What time did I get home? What did I cook? Because all of this mattered. Because I went from getting all the things done to getting 1 or 2 things done. And so for that, you want to write everything down. And then after you write everything down, acknowledge your season, you need to figure out how to organize your day around the things that are happening. And also add in a few things that you want to be able to do, like working out. And again, cooking. I tried to make some adjustments on the weekend for the cooking, but y'all, that ain't quite working. We'll get to that later. And so that was the first thing. Do a brain dump, document everything that's happening in your day, and then figure out where do you go from here, which leads me to step 3. Develop a new rhythm. That rhythm of last season just wasn't working for me. This season, I needed to figure out, when do I get to work out? When do I need to cook? What kind of meals are easiest? You know, I'm looking for easy. I even seen some meal prepping services that I actually even considered, because I hate for us to eat out, and I also want to ensure that we're eating healthy. And so with that, I'm still exploring in this moment how I will make those things work. But I'm okay if I can only get exercise in for 30 minutes here and or 15 minutes there. Like legit, I am trying to figure out what works without overwhelming myself, right? And then you develop your new rhythm. And then 4, you plan for the next 30 days. Don't plan the 30 days out. Plan it 1 week at a time. But you always want to look ahead. So on Sundays, you want to look ahead into your week. When I read Atomic Habits, he was talking about how you make one small change, because as you develop those habits, they become part of who you are. And so I don't say I'm going to work out at 5:30 in the morning. I say I'm going to get up at 5:30 for the next week and let my body adjust. Because when I do that, I lean into getting up now and working out. It was just a lot easier to do it a little bit at a time. And so you want to do that 1 week out. On Sundays, you do a reset, plan for the week. What are you eating? All the things. And y'all, I know it seems daunting, but it's such a life game changer to organize around all of the chaos that could be happening in your life. Because at the end of the day, we want to develop a rhythm that works for us, but we also want to master some consistency, right? In organizing my day and trying to look at what's happening, I use 3 things. I use Outlook through work, Google Calendar at home, and reminders. Ooh, Lord, I don't know how I would live without reminders. And so I use those things to kind of help me get adjusted. That way I can really see. I color coordinate things if needed, just so I can see. I even put my bills on the calendars, y'all, because there's no way to keep up with all the stuff that's happening around here. And so with that being said, those are the things that I'm doing to get out of this rut that I've been in. And so next, let's talk about my update. So with the podcast, one of the things that I feel like was a challenge for me is that because I niched so fast, I went into mentoring, and I talk about project management, but I don't really get to share that part, or I haven't shared a large part of my life in that way. And so I want to kind of pivot and evolve what the podcast will start to look like. And I'm going to try a little bit of vlogging. And I don't want to be limited to just mentoring things. I want to share a little bit about being a project manager, share a little bit about being a leader, share hanging out with my friends on the weekend. And of course, this will be a very big challenge for me because I'm very private. But I do want to start to share some of those things, share a lot of the tips, share a little bit about even how I show up for the mentoring, because I think that the podcast was limiting to me to people's schedules, my schedule limitations, and that is just challenging for the season that I'm in. Now, again, disclaimer, I'm bound to change something, but right now that's what I'm going to explore. And so I got me a little tripod thing that I'm going to try, and I'll be sharing. I don't know how much of my house I'll be sharing, because listen, I'm not going to go through trying to clean up and be like, all right, y'all, look how beautiful this is. No, I'm going to show you just a little bit. The frame will be very, very small, and it'll only show the coffee pot. I don't know. I got to figure that out. But I had to give myself some grace. I would ask that you do the same for yourself, and even chime in and let me know, like, what do you do to come out of your rut? I mean, of course, I'm only sharing my way. There are multiple ways. This is what worked for me in getting organized. And then, boom, let's see how this works. And I'll start to try to, again, record and vlog a little bit of what I'm doing as I'm trying to make changes in my life. I want to leave with this note. Every day that God gives us a chance to open our eyes again, that's a do-over. And so take it, do the best you can with it, and let's just all be better together. All right, y'all? Thank you so much. Stay up, stay ready, be blessed. Peace.